We've moved to the Hoffman Show. It's not often we get to go to our guests, but when they're right down the hall, we're here in Denton's office. And if you're unfamiliar, you should be watching Denton's office on YouTube at the Team 980. Ladies and gentlemen, Denton Day.
Fellas, I appreciate you having me in my office. You're technically the second and third guest I've ever had in the office, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Who was first?
Orange Cassidy, a wrestler. So you're in good company.
Okay, fine. Sure.
You don't have a file on Orange Cassidy?
Nope.
We'll get there by the end of it.
You know what else I don't have a file on, Denton?
College basketball.
That is correct. That is why you are here. We had Kevin Brown yesterday. We said that's the only bracket, that people, or the bracket preview that people needed was the annual one that I do with Kevin Brown. But just because you get, you in life can sometimes have more than what you need. You can have your wants. And we want to preview this bracket with Denton Day. So here we are, of course, Denton, not only the producer of the Kevin Sheehan Show, the host of Denton's Office on the Team 980 YouTube page, but also works for SiriusXM doing college hoops, college football during the football season. And so we always like to have him on around college football playoff and, of course, the NCAA tournament. So sticking with the men's side for you, Denton, we're going to go on the South region, top left of your brackets for those that are bracketing. What stands out to you in this region? Is there? I mean, obviously, North Carolina now becomes a story with what they did last night.
Yeah.
Can they go through upset Ole Miss? Kevin seemed to think that was definitely on the table.
Yes.
But there's some interesting stuff going on in this region.
So first of all, I'm going to start with North Carolina because I said this as soon as they got in. You got to have them going to at least the Sweet 16. There's going to be so much backlash, so it only makes sense for them to then win a bunch of games. So people will sit there and be like, well, they should have been in clearly, and then there are going to be people that argue whatever. Like the NCAA is corrupt. Welcome to like 2014. All right, we're 11 years past that being a thing. I love this bracket though because I think this is where the number one seed goes down the earliest.
Really?
I love Creighton. I think Creighton has everything that you need from an interior team and a team that's built through a big guy the same way that Auburn is to really make life difficult for Auburn. And Auburn's been playing really, really slow to close the season out. I think that's a matchup from hell for Auburn. But on the flip side, like they're in trouble no matter what because in one hand, you get Creighton, you get this big defender that's going to be an absolute pain to deal with. If they lose, you get Louisville at home. Somehow Louisville as an 8th seed is playing in the region that's playing in Kentucky. And like theoretically, when you put this bracket together, the true number one seed, which is what Auburn is supposed to have the easiest advantage, if you will, and then getting the 8th seed to basically play literally, I don't know how far Lexington is from Louisville itself, but it's a lot closer than Auburn is. Yeah. Like you're traveling maybe 45 minutes or so to get there, so I can't believe that ended up being the draw that Auburn got. I think they go down in the round of 32.
Did you have to change your bracket, Anthony?
Do you have Auburn winning?
Well, thing is I had Louisville winning.
Okay, there you go.
So. I might have to update stuff. Or, because we're now going to be in a bracket that Denton set up that you can join on ESPN.com. What's the bracket name, Denton, if fans want to...
Team 980 Showdown.
Yeah,
it's on the Twitter account.
Yeah, join the Team 980 Showdown that Denton created and pick Auburn to go all the way, and then you'll beat Denton. Michigan State's also a fun one to watch in this region. Obviously, like they're the 2 seed. It's Tom Izzo. It's March. Is this a team that's capable of Final Four run?
They're the team that I have in my bracket coming out of the Final Four. I think they're a really strong team. What I love the most about Michigan State and just the way that Tom Izzo coaches is that they never try and be anything that they're not. Oftentimes we see teams that are super talented that when they get to March, they start trying to do things that they haven't done before, trying to kind of adapt to whoever they are playing. Tom Izzo and Michigan State, they know exactly what they are. They're a badass bunch, so I really like Michigan State coming out of that region.
Denton Day, we're in his office, of course, host many programs on SiriusXM's College Sports Channel, and the producer of the Kevin Sheehan Show, Craig Hoffman here on the Hoffman Show, and Anthony's joined us in the office as well. Anthony, if you're here, who's running everything? Don't think too hard about it. All right. Up next, we have the West region. Florida is the number 1 seed here. It's also where the Terps live.
Yeah.
The Missouri-Drake matchup is apparently very interesting. I've been told by a reliable source named Kevin Brown, who said that on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
Stylistic intrigue there. And then you have the, as Richard Deitch called it, the quadrant of the bracket where you're going to see more just announcer, coach uncomfortableness than has ever existed in the NCAA with Bill Self, John Calipari, and Rick Pitino all in that bottom quadrant with Omaha is the fourth team set Hut. What is intriguing to you? And actually, let's focus on the local team here. Like, what kind of chance do you give the Terps to make a Sweet 16 run here?
A strong one. I would say the way that they're lined up right now, anything less than a Sweet 16 run should be viewed as a disappointment. It's been such a long time that they've gotten there. They have a really talented group. And, Grand Canyon does some things that I think are really, really fun. But, like, let's be honest, I ain't watching Grand Canyon all that much, right? Like, Maryland is super talented. I think Kevin Willard's a really good coach. He hasn't playing it or coaching at Seton Hall maybe doesn't give you the best ability to kind of flex your coaching muscles because you're just not built with the talent that you get and the resources that you will at Maryland. So I anticipate that Maryland takes care of Grand Canyon, and then it's Colorado State and Memphis. Penny with Memphis. Colorado State is another big matchup that I think a lot of people are going to have in terms of upsets. So that could be a really, really fun matchup. But if you're Maryland, you're looking at what you have right now, and the expectation should be that you're going to be facing, more likely than not, Florida, unless something goes cataclysmically wrong for the Gators. They're the best. They're playing the best right now in college basketball, so the expectation should be for Maryland to, at the very least, get to the Sweet 16, and then at that point, if you're in the Sweet 16, anything can happen. Maryland has the talent to do it.
So obviously that would be Kevin Willard's first ever Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Great to see it. All the Maryland games here on the Team 980, of course, including in place of our show on Friday, 4 o'clock pregame, 4:30 tip-off here on your home for the Terps. UConn also in this, the two-time defending champion. Is there any chance they make a run, or is it just like they had the talent the last couple of years? This is a down year. They'll surely be back soon.
This is definitely more of a down year. They were so loaded the past 2 years when it comes to offensive stuff, and really some of the defensive stuff. They really locked in last year defensively, whereas in the regular season, it's funny, everyone uses these metrics, these KenPom metrics to kind of judge who's going to be good, who's not, and generally speaking, you need to be in a certain realm, both on offense and defense, to be looked at as a legitimate championship contender, and UConn very much was not last year on defense, and then the tournament started, and it was like, all right, we're done playing with our food. We're going to come in, and we're just going to maul everybody. So I definitely think with Hurley, there's a chance, but Florida is so good. They have 4 different guys that can go give you 20, and they're the team that can play slow. They did against Tennessee in the SEC championship game, and they also outran Alabama, a team that's legitimately built to score 150 points a game, and they outscored them. So their levels are insane of what they can be.
Denton Day with us here on the Hoffman Show, previewing the NCAA tournament. Of course, Westwood One's coverage, he said, of the tournament starts at noon. Denton will be with Kevin for an hour each day, right?
An hour of power.
Yeah, there you go. Thursday and Friday, and then Westwood One takes over. You can hear the tournament on the Team 980. Midwest region, top right of your bracket for those of you who are bracketing along with us here. Houston, SIU, Edwardsville gets us started there. Kelvin Sampson's team, another 1 seed. And then there's some really interesting, potential upsets. Kevin yesterday with us circled High Point, Purdue as an interesting one, considering Purdue's tournament history. You got Tennessee down there at the bottom as well, lurking as a 2 seed. What do you like in this region? What's most interesting to you in this region?
Outside of the top team in Houston, this is the most fun region because I could see all of these teams winning a game. I think in terms of kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Parity. In terms of parity, McNeese can get to the Sweet 16. I think they have the offense. Will they? Probably not, because Clemson's a really good team. The ACC has this weird tendency, despite the fact that in the regular season we think that they suck, and in the regular season this year the conference sucked. They click in March. Georgia's a 9 seed. Don't know why, other than they play in the SEC, and the SEC got literally 14 teams in. Cool. So they're just throwing everybody in there, but they're going up against Mark Few and Gonzaga, who's one of the best in the business in the month of March. So I really love this bracket because I think this is the bracket, this side of the bracket that's going to cause the most pandemonium and going to just shred everybody. If you have Tennessee going far, more power to you, but I have no idea how it's going to shape out.
It's funny you mentioned the ACC. It sucked in the ACC sucked in the regular season. Every conference had a 500 record in conference.
That is crazy, isn't it? It's the most insane thing.
When the teams are all in the same conference and they all play each other, one team has to win and one team has to lose every game. Yet multiple. Do you guys not see this bit during the regular season? We never. I was on the verge of being in Real Things multiple times. There were multiple coaches asked about, do you know that the ACC is 500, that the SEC is 500, whatever in conference play? And they're all like, oh, we should be better than that. And it's like, no. if you're constantly playing each other in conference play, one team will win, one team will lose. How are you working at an institution of higher learning? Anyway, continuing on, that's what I bring to bracket analysis. Finally, last but not least, did I miss? We went out of order here.
You swapped a little
speaking
bit.
of institutions of higher learning, you'll not find Syracuse in this bracket. The top right, so that was the bottom right of your bracket for those bracketing along. Did not scroll up enough. Duke in the East region. They have the best player in the country in Cooper Flagg. It's not even close.
Future savior of the Wizards.
Yeah. We say our prayer. We won't do it silently because that would be bad radio, but we say our prayer. They've also been on fire since he kind of caught fire around New Year's. Would you, I guess I'll just straight up ask you, is that the team you're picking to win it all? Who are the threats to knock them off?
I do think they're a good team. They're not the team I'm picking to win it all. I believe this is similar in a sense to, remember what the 2019 Warriors, when Durant pulled his calf and we're like, ugh, that looked like an Achilles. And they're like, no, it's a calf. They came back and played him, popped his Achilles.
Yeah.
I kind of feel similar-ish to the Cooper Flagg stuff. We saw the injury, we're like, that's probably more than a 6-day injury. And they're like, no, he's going to be fine. So I don't think he's going to be as healthy, which bums me out because he's going to be the savior of our franchise. I like him to be healthy when the NBA season comes into play. But because of that, they can beat just about anybody, but they need Cooper Flagg because there's going to be teams like a Houston, potentially like an Alabama, Florida, whoever. There are going to be teams that can really, really score the basketball that you're going to need Cooper Flagg to be healthy for. They, as much talent as Duke has, and we know not much has changed since Coach K left. They still have a ton of talent. You have to have the best player in college basketball to be able to make the run that they want to. So I got questions about that. With that said, I think I still have them in the Elite Eight.
VCU is in this region,
Yes.
local squad. What kind of chance do you give them to make a
I
run?
got them beating BYU. I really like the way that they played. That the game against George Mason in the A-10 final was a lot of fun, but I think the physicality that they bring is really, really impressive. So I give them a really good shot against BYU.
Anthony, do you have any questions for Denton?
My main question will probably be Duke. Them winning, the ACC without Cooper Flagg, the fact that they were able to, still be productive on the offensive side of the ball, the rise of Patrick Ngangba, do you not feel as though they'll be able to get through the first, weekend without Cooper Flagg and then bring him back and then be able, make
That's
a run?
what they should do. And my worry is that they're going to try and be a little too cute about it and do this kind of charade of, no, he's fully healthy. They're going to play him a little too early, and then that messes up what they're going to try and do once they start, because they're going to beat the 16 seed. Hot take there. I know that might be a little bit more of a hot take as of late.
Haven't you heard about our show? We don't do hot takes.
We don't do hot takes. Sorry about that. But I think they have the talent to get through the first two rounds without him, which does make me worry a little bit about that. They could be forcing him back too early, because if they do end up playing Alabama, which I don't think they will, I think Alabama loses in round 2 to St. Mary's. But I do think once you start to play the teams that are legitimately have all 5 positions that might be going pro, you're going to need Cooper Flagg at full health. Their offense does run way different when he's not in the game.
Yeah, that said, they do have other top 10 NBA
Yeah, I mean, I think
picks.
Shire's a pretty decent coach. Sometimes it's kind of tough to be able to decide because he just has this overwhelming amount of talent. But I also watched John Calipari lose with overwhelming amount of talent. It felt like every single year after the John Wall year and after the Anthony Davis year. So I do think that Shire does a really good job of taking the talent that he has and making it all work together.
It's the crazy thing about this tournament, single elimination. You can have a good game plan. You can have a good team. You have a bad shooting night, you're done. That's the beauty of the tournament. Last thing for you with Denton Day here on the Hoffman Show. Kevin yesterday was talking about how he thinks, you kind of were poo-pooing Ken Palm a little bit earlier, but based off how strong the top teams are, and he's using some of the Ken Palm stuff is a big piece of evidence here. He thinks this could be one of the top heaviest tournaments that we've seen in a while, that we're going to wind up with a bunch of the heavyweights in that final weekend. Do you agree with that, or do you think that there are plenty of teams that are still ripe for an upset?
I definitely think there are teams ripe for an upset, but I do feel like as you look at this, Duke, when fully healthy, is insane. Florida, when fully healthy, is insane. Houston, when fully healthy, that's a UFC match. waiting to happen. And if you're not built for that, like I would love a St. John's Houston matchup in, I guess that would be in a championship.
Yeah.
Because that would literally just be, I don't know what number of UFC we're on nowadays, but it'd be like UFC 400. Like there would be 80,000 fouls called in that because they just play so physical. So I love the disparity between some of the talent in terms of how they play, but they're, as I think this is just a thing, as basketball progresses and becomes a lot more kind of open to everyone, if you understand, if you know what I mean, the shooting and the talent at a young age is far greater than I think we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, because that's been an issue. My joke for years with college basketball was like, no, I like when they make the shots. And that's why I like the NBA better. But now I do think that the skill level of some of these younger ages, and like, I also think like Steph Curry ruined basketball in a way because you had a million kids trying to be Steph Curry. And then I think coaches have kind of gotten around the fact it's like, hey, who you're not? Steph Curry. So maybe don't take the step back three. But there's also like more kids that can hit it now. So it should be fun is I think the point. You listen to it on the Team 980. Get your hour of power with Denton and Sheehan. Before, Denton, thank you for allowing us in your office to be a guest on our show.
I appreciate it. Now, respectfully, get out.
We're going to go back to the studio.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.